Hello! Hello, America and the world.
This angle creeps me the fuck out, man.
Why does it creep you out?
It's like you and I, just the whole fucking screen, dude.
Yeah, it's intimate, Eric. I want to be intimate with you right now.
Dude, I appreciate that, my friend.
I want to be close. I want to be personal. We're talking a lot today. There's a lot to talk about. I sent you an actual. We didn't have much going on at work on Tuesday. I printed one out for me, but I made up some notes.
Dude, I appreciate it, dude. You know me, I'm pro note.
You're very pro note. So there is one thing I didn't include on here. Actually, I did include it at the bottom. I remembered putting the bullet points. So starting off, training camp starts this Monday. I think single game tickets will be available at that time as well, coming up. Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout for single game tickets for the UFL. It's time. It's here. I'm excited for it. I hope we get more people in the stands.
You and I should partake in a game, dude.
You want to go to a game in the regular season? Because I plan on making it to the championship game for sure. I also would like to make a regular season game. The question is, where would you want to go?
I don't know. I don't know where I want to go. I'd have to.
What would the easiest ones for you are what?
Probably Detroit.
It's like Detroit or maybe Memphis.
No, fuck Memphis, dude. I'm not going to Memphis.
What do you got against Memphis?
I'd rather go to Detroit, man.
I'd be down to Detroit. I'd be down for Detroit.
You know, the great bars right by Ford Field. I was there for the draft. Phenomenal setup. We could stay in Windsor, go to the casinos.
Yeah, I'd love to make it for a Panthers game. If we could make it I'm trying to think. Panthers Stallions would be a fun one to go to.
Oh, 100%.
That'd be a very fun one to go to. Also, I wrote down the notes. Spencer Sanders to the Defenders, baby.
So, this is a type of move, personally, I love. I was huge on Sanders at Oklahoma State. Obviously, I didn't really understand why he transferred to Ole Miss. It was really.
I never got that either.
Because when you look at it, there's plenty of other places that could have used him. Perfect example, right down the road at Auburn. He would have excelled in that Hugh Freeze offense. To me, this is the players that I want to see getting run. Look, Tamu, or how you pronounce his name.
Jordan Tamu, baby.
He's had a good little run, but we know what we are getting with him. Mike Delineo, great career. Bounced around college football. Finished off good at Austin Prairie. But with Sanders being young, having legs, the arm, I think this is who I want to see as the quarterback for the Defenders.
I will say this. I do love guys like Jordan Tamu that kind of become these spring league lifers. That they kind of build up a brand in leagues like this. XFL to USFL, back to XFL, now UFL. I like the familiarity that you get with guys like this. I wonder what is the true goal? To get these guys that are like that, or to try to get a guy like Sanders that you can take from there to be a practice squad, be a second stringer. The goal's to make fucking money, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
The goal's to make money. I don't know if they've said that they obviously they've shown and said that they can develop. I don't know if their goal is to be a full developmental league.
Yeah.
I think if Tamu has fans in DC and if he gets people to go to DC, which DC has been one of the top 3 spots for fan engagement things.
But I'll be honest, I feel with DC, because the atmosphere, hell, me or you could be playing quarterback.
Fair. And another thing for Tamu, I will say, we saw St. Louis go in a different direction with A.J. McCarron. We've seen Tamu have ups and downs. How many more downs can he have before they decide to try and go in a different direction?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's probably not on the longest leash this year.
I would probably go in a different direction.
My assumption will be probably that Tamu's the starter, but I don't think he has a very long leash.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Sanders start at some point during the year.
That would not surprise me one bit. It is kind of we're sort of seeing, I think for a majority of the teams, we kind of have like a starter sort of in place. I don't know what's going on. I think St. Louis is still up in the air between Cordero and Duggan. I don't know which one gets the start out of there. Birmingham, they're probably going to have a battle between Matt Corral and Alex Magoo, but it's probably going to be Alex. The system and what he showed in 2023 was like otherworldly. DC, I'm going to assume it's going to be Tamu. Memphis, is going to be interesting what they do. Michigan's probably going to be Bryce Perkins. Arlington, we know it's Perez. Ducky shining in here. My boy Ducky. Kyle Sloter would start on any team. Oh.
Respect.
The slope, man. Some of us. Chase was a slope for Sloter. I liked him too. And then other news. Stallions lose Philip Montgomery as their co-OC, running backs and tight ends coach. Battlehawks, they still don't have Brad Gronkowski. He's with your Lions.
I mean, I look at it like this. Like, for me, like, the Stallions losing Montgomery really isn't a big deal. You got Holtz, you got the infrastructure. When you look at it, Holtz was actually the one who was calling the plays and doing everything. You're going to have either Corral or, I'm sorry, I'm spacing on the guy's name. Magoo. So, I mean, you're really not going to be that big of a step down. But when you look at Gronkowski leaving, I think this is going to be a huge deal because now you're losing your OC, the guy who's been calling plays, and you're not going to have that quarterback there. You're going to be switching quarterbacks. So there's going to be this whole big turnover. And when you look at it, Phil McGlennon, he is going to be the one who's taking over play calling. Jim, do you know when the last time this guy called plays was?
I think we talked about this one time before, but was it 2017?
2008, when he was the OC for Navy Prep. So that's a prep school that gets you ready for Navy football in 2008. Now, when...
Yikes.
And then he was just a wide receiver coach. He was at South Florida. He had some couple of teams in the NFL. Was with the Chargers a couple of years, Bills in 1 year, dipped to Colorado, and then he was out. Now, I look at it like this when I see a coach like that, positional coach in the league, and they're just going from job to job to job to job to job.
Obama era play calling, baby.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you're just going to job. And there's no growth. It kind of tells you. Then you dip down to Colorado, which at the time was a bottom tier school in the Pac-12 or Pac-10, whatever it was. It's, to me, it just says this guy isn't it. And I really think this is kind of going to have to change how we look at the Battlehawks. I think the Battlehawks should be a fade at the beginning of the year.
And that'll lead us right into the futures. Eric, I haven't pulled up in front. Do you have them pulled up in front of you? Because I want to surprise you. If you don't have them pulled up, don't pull them up yet.
I'm not pulling them up, Jim.
Okay. Do you want to start at the shortest odds or the longest odds?
Well, I mean, the shortest odds are probably going to be the Stallions. So let's start.
Plus 200. You want to start on the longest? Okay. Longest odds. Guess the team for the longest odds.
Houston.
Yes, the Houston Roughnecks, 18-1 plus 1800. What do we feel? What do we feel about the Houston Roughnecks at plus 1800? These are DraftKings odds. I haven't seen them in any of our other books. Got to get our boy Dave on the phone.
Houston, don't like the coach. I really don't think they did enough to improve their offensive line. I get it.
Plus 1500. Yeah, Ducky's right. It should be plus 5,000. I'm
hold on. So, let me get my notes here. So we got Houston, Arlington, Michigan, Birmingham, Memphis, DC. Who am I missing? 1, 2, 3,
San Antonio.
San Antonio. Who else am I missing?
I don't know who you said so far.
All right,
the two S's.
All right, so Houston's 8. I'm gonna say 7
plus 1800. Number 7.
Houston has the longest plus 1800. Jesus, it's probably even gonna be Arlington or Memphis. I'll go with Memphis.
You're correct again. Plus 1500 for the Memphis Showboats.
Okay, all right.
I mean, this team is interesting to me. New coach, new
No
quarterback.
questions about Whisenhunt, though. That's the thing.
They're a wild card in my mind.
Whisenhunt to me gives me Fisher vibes when Fisher came to, where was he in the XFL to start?
No, when he came to Michigan in the USFL in 22.
Yeah, the UFL, excuse me. He kind of gives me those type of vibes.
Okay. I thought that could have worked.
But he really wasn't that motivated, willing to put in the work, and I'm afraid that's what we're going to get here with
I hope
Canada.
not, because I think Memphis should be. They're a wild card team, and I'm very interested. You're correct. Also, that number 6 is the Renegades,
Okay.
plus 1,100.
All right. So then this is when it gets juicy.
Those are also like that's in their own tier. So it's
All
like
right.
the Renegades, Showboats, Roughnecks. It's a jump after those 3.
So is number 2 San Antonio?
Number 2, like after the Stallions?
After the Stallions, is it San Antonio?
No.
St. Louis.
Correct. Plus 350 for St. Louis.
Jesus, dude. Wow. Number 3's got to be San Antonio.
No. It's a tie. So it's a tie between San Antonio and DC. Both plus 600
And then next, Michigan.
at plus 650.
All right. So for me, I'm going to go.
Are you going to back your boy Wade again? We had such better odds last year.
Yeah. To me, these odds just seem too tight.
If I'm okay, if there's a team
me
I
right
like,
now, if I were to bet, if I had to bet someone,
it's the
I'd bet-
Renegades. It's the Renegades.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's the Renegades.
Yeah.
They have shown a propensity for good defense, and
They have a coach.
you just got to get hot. You've seen in this
They
league,
have
you
a
just
coach,
have to get
and
hot.
Then they have Perez.
I trust
Absolutely.
Perez. I trust the weapons they have. They have great special teams.
No brainer.
Speaking of which, we didn't discuss this on the last episode, but they're going back to the XFL style kickoff, like the NFL did last year.
Okay, I like that.
They're going back to that kickoff. I liked the one they had last year. It was fun doing like the sort of regular kickoff, except adjusted so more returns. But obviously, you know me. You see my background. I'm a sucker for the XFL style kickoff all day. So yeah, if I'm betting any of these, it's the Renegades.
I wish they had over under with wins. I would hammer the under of the St. Louis. I think St. Louis is really going to struggle this year, especially to start the year. I can tell you right now, I'm probably going to be fading them their first game.
So I posed this question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead first. You go ahead first.
You go. I'm
Okay,
fine.
I will pose this question to you, and I'm probably going to clip this, but I will pose this question. If St. Louis does struggle this year, is Becht out?
They will never.
Like, they have all the hype in the world. They have all of the draw. They have 0 playoff wins. They made the playoffs last year, lost to a surging Brahmas team. The year before that, they didn't even make the playoffs.
I think he won't. This league will never let anyone go mid-year.
I don't think they will. I don't think these leagues will fire anybody. But do you think he seriously starts looking at jobs after that? Because
where else would he go?
I think he could get like a coordinator position, maybe, or like a positions coach, maybe.
No.
I just eventually, that's the only team I can think of where they have all of the hype. They have all of the the league wants them to be really good, and no playoff wins.
So I'm just gonna say it right now. They open up the 28th at Houston. Give me Houston.
Are we taking Houston?
We're taking Houston. We're taking Houston game 1. I'm calling it right now. Already.
Okay. Hey, they lost game. Remember, that was the Jake Bates game.
Yep. With a boomer.
Yeah. They had like a slow start last year. That's what they killed themselves early.
There's even more path for a slow start here, just because with the no quarterback, no new OC.
What's the team you're most excited for? Because I have 2 that I'm anticipated for.
San Antonio and the Panthers.
Love San Antonio. Love that. Love that idea. Mine is the defenders and the showboats. If the defenders can kind of get a run game going, Ducky said. I mean, but Ducky does raise a good point. He was like an option for West Virginia.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to take Rich Rod over him.
So, I mean, like, could he be like a tight end coach and what's a team? UConn. Yeah.
Why don't you just go?
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think that is kind of realistically for him.
I think my two teams are the Memphis Showboats and the DC Defenders.
I'm interested in DC if my boy Sanders gets some run.
Even if he doesn't. You were saying that, what was that? You were saying that same thing 2 years ago about De'Aaron King. You were saying the exact same shit about De'Aaron King.
All right, stop. Been there and done that. Did DC make the playoffs last year?
No, but they did the year before. They made the championship game the year before.
Talking last year.
I know. That's fair. But I think what we see with Jordan, my whole thing with DC is if they can get a run game, then Tuamu becomes one of like the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. That's just how he always works. If he has a run game, like a good run game, he's elite. If he has a bad run game to like mid run game, he's awful. So I think if DC gets like Abram Smith back, if they get like their offensive line good, they can cook.
Mm-hmm.
Ducky Disguise chiming in. Showboats will have the best defense. Bookmark it. The Showboats being a complete wild card is why I'm in.
That's why you're in. Shoot.
Plus 1,500. Don't hate it. If I'm going to make 2 bets. I'm going to take the Renegades and the Showboats. I've seen it before with the Renegades. Also the storyline. This is like Perez's last stand. He's riding off to the sunset.
I'll take the Renegades. That's it, man.
Before we get to our little segment of ranking all the coaches, there was a little arena news, Eric. Arena Football 1, AF1, Wilkes Barre Mavericks out of Scranton. They're out of the league. They bowed out. Well, they shut down.
This is my question to you. Jerry Krutz, the CEO. This is one of the hardest messages any organization has to deliver. But it's better to eliminate concerns before the season starts than during the season, as many other leagues have had. But when I was looking around, I couldn't find what he meant by concern. Is it an internal concern? Is it a league-wide concern? My
assumption would be league-wide because a big thing was it wasn't AF1 last year. It was the Arena Football League last year. Mm-hmm. Brawl the Mall, all that fun stuff. But if you remember, I suppose you don't because you're a filthy casual, but that's fine.
I'm still cash.
For us in the trenches that remember, the Arena Football League last year, now AF1, a lot of controversy early on because I think even we talked about it where some of the venues had like the nets falling down behind the goalpost not really being up, the turf being awful, stuff shutting down mid-season. People were really harping on the Arena Football League, and they cleaned it up in the mid-season. The broadcasts also, to start, were awful, but they cleaned it up. They did a lot of good work, and I think this is a move where maybe you try and add too many teams too quickly, because you think the lowest barrier to entry for any ownership, like anyone wanting to own a team of any sport, I think the lowest barrier to entry is probably arena football. Yeah. It's got to be super low. Like you're paying to rent out the venue and you're really paying like the players, housing, and transport. Those are the big things that you're paying.
Yeah. Which
I don't know why they have 3 divisions is my thing.
Do you feel like there's too many? It should be more select. You know what I mean? Because like, how many teams are there here? How many teams?
So in the Arena Football 1, there's a lot of teams, Eric. There's a lot of teams. So we'll go by there's 3 divisions. 2 of them only have 3 teams now. And one of them has 4.
So total.
So there's
how many
10
do they have?
teams. There's 10 teams now.
So but do you think they would have been better if they only had 6?
No. I feel like that's way too few.
So 8.
I would say 8's a good number. I would honestly say 10's a good number. I just don't know why you need 3 divisions.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just do it 5 and 5?
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, like, I know you and I both want more teams than UFL, but right now I feel 8 is a good enough number for what they have.
8's a great number, and then maybe like next year in a couple years they go to 10. I don't think we need. I think I get worried about the UFL once we start getting to like 16. I'll start worrying about it. If we're around like 10 for a while, I'm fine. 8's a great number.
I would rather have less and have it be tight.
Yes, 100%. And I will say this: my plan right now, Salina Liberty. They open up the weekend. If I look at the schedule one more time, I believe I will be in attendance for the game March 8th at the Southwest Kansas Storm. I think. Oh, can I go to that one or not? Southwest Kansas Storm might be a little too much of a distance for me. I might have to wait for the first Salina game.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be, that'd be in April. I'll figure it out. I want to make it to an arena game.
Hey,
shout
real
out
quick, can I just say shout out to Royal Retros?
Oh, dude. Let me get I think I have the thing. Let me see if I have our banner. Shout out Royal Retros.
There you go. My boy.
They, speaking of AF1, they sponsored all the merch for Arena Football 1.
Boom.
Speaking of Royal Retros, and if you go to Royal Retros and you want some awesome Arena Football AF1 merch, use our promo code Spring Fever for 10% off.
Go to Royal Retros right now.
Go, but leave our show on in the background. Okay, Erik. What are you
Washington Wolfpack?
Yeah.
All right. Some sexy ass gear right here, man.
I gotta figure out where the Southwest Kansas Storm play. Okay, how long of a drive is it for me to get to? They're in Dodge City. That's probably not good for me.
I like this look. Dude,
this 4 hours. 4-hour drive. That's not bad.
This is a nice little fucking sweat t-shirt, dude.
Dude, they got some good stuff. Royal Retros, promo code Spring Fever, 10% off. They got that good.
Or you know what? Maybe I'll just get a little CFPFL hat.
I would like that too.
CFLPA, just a basic t-shirt, dude.
I would dig that.
Just represent the Players Association, dude.
Do they have the old school like CFL American teams?
They do.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, Erik. I got the coaches right here. We're only gonna do head coaches. I know I put all the different general managers, all the different coaches and whatnot. If there's anyone else that pops up that you're interested in, let me know.
Do you want to go top to bottom or bottom to the top?
I'm gonna go alphabetical order, and then I want you to give a number 1 through 7.
Well, I have mine ordered.
Okay, if you have yours ordered, let's go through yours, and I'll give you my number for that coach. So let's start with yours 7. It's got to be 8. Oh, sorry, 8. 8, yeah, 1 through 8.
I have Johnson from Houston.
It's CJ, right? Yeah. He's my 8 too.
Number 7.
I'm surprised he came back. I'm surprised he came back.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I thought, but again, like, I don't think they're gonna fire any of these coaches. I think they'd want to leave.
No, but I do think they might push these coaches to like I think John DeFilippo didn't like. Yeah, for Memphis, John DeFilippo last year, like he kind of got like pushed out a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you remember, like the USFL year 1, like pushed out a little bit.
Just peace out, bro.
Yeah, I don't think they'll fire coaches, but they'll like forced retirement a little bit.
Okay. Number 7. Now this is gonna be my hot take.
Is it Ken?
Ken Wisenhunt, 7.
Is that a hot take? Because like, I personally think he'll be pretty good. I just, again, like we've said with Memphis before, it's kind of a complete unknown.
I look at it like this: like he hasn't been coaching, he hasn't been around, he's not getting smarter. Games passing by. That's just me.
I do wish they would have brought someone in who was like, this is sort of, they're hungry. They're maybe a guy who's been like a coordinator forever, and now they get a shot to be a head coach. Mm-hmm. That would have been something that I would have looked for instead. But this is fine too. I'm concerned, but I'm excited. I just remember we've seen it with the USFL. We saw it big in 2020 in the XFL. Like the old school head coaches, the only one that kind of worked out was June Jones. Like Jim Zorn didn't do great in Seattle, and Mark Trestman was awful.
You're putting it politely. Trestman sucked.
Oh, dude, he sucked in 2020. It was only like a taste of what he was with the Bears. Who's your number 6?
Barlow, DC.
It's gonna be Barlow, huh?
Yeah, what'd you go with?
I went with Becht.
Okay. Yeah.
I went with old Anthony Becht. I like Anthony Becht a lot. He brings a lot of personality. I think he's great for the league.
But that doesn't mean you're a good coach.
No, that does not mean he's a great coach. I love him. I love his attitude. I love that he kind of like takes shots at people. I love that move. But I don't know if he's a great coach because I feel like when we talk about the St. Louis Battlehawks, they are good to great team. But when the high pressure situations come, they consistently fall apart.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's almost entirely on coaching.
Winners win, baby.
Like they're anti-clutch.
Yeah, and that comes from your coach being prepared, doing the right things. There's been times when you look at the roster, you look at the wide receiver cores, when you look at the quarterback
they're
they
stacked.
have, there's no excuse for them not to be better than they were.
There's no excuse for them to not at least be playing in the championship game.
No excuse. And like, look, that falls on that falls on Beck. Beck is my next. Beck's next on my list.
Okay, so we just kind of flipped him because I had Barlow as my next.
My number 4, I got Stoops.
If this was prime Oklahoma, Stoops would be different.
But I kind of feel Stoops is at that stage where, you know what?
He's chilling.
He's still putting in work, but he's not really putting in work.
He's not stressing.
He's not in the facility at 6 a.m.
No, Chase talks about it all the time. If you see Stoops with the headset on, something is going wrong.
Yeah. That makes sense.
He's chilling, dude. Yeah, he's my next one, too.
My number 3, Nolan.
Yep. We're kind of like right here, neck and neck. What Nolan did with the Michigan Panthers last year was awesome. Like, they played 3 different quarterbacks. He kind of found something that fit. And I think he's a good coach.
If he played three different quarterbacks.
Well, some of those were due to injury.
I know, but most of the time when that happens, there's a built-in excuse. Oh, our starter was hurt. Case in point, the Miami Dolphins. But a good coach is going to put the team in a position to win, and that's what he was able to do, playing different styles, the whole 9 yards.
I think Mike Nolan's a good coach. Michigan will be a very interesting team. If we're talking about teams to potentially dethrone Birmingham, they would be up there for me on the USFL side. Mm-hmm. And I like what he's doing. I like the defense. I like that they're rolling full in with Perkins. I like Bryce Perkins quite a bit. I think I'm excited for the Michigan Panthers. Also, just as an aside, someone brought up like a show clip or whatever of old UFL president wanting to potentially get rid of divisions, get rid of the XFL and USFL like conferences.
So just top 4 make the playoffs, whatever. Maybe
it would be that.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind it, but I kind of like I think that it creates like a fun little division.
Yeah,
And maybe it's like, if it's not as good for the league, who
I
knows?
think one big thing in football, have it being down to high school up to the NFL, is the divisional rivalries. And
Yes.
I think that's a good point you make. You get rid of those, and that's going to be a big thing. It's going to hurt.
I think like the XFL versus USFL stuff. Maybe it's mostly online, but I think it's real personally, and I love it. Who's your number 2 coach?
It pains me to say this, Uncle Wade.
Yup.
You know, pains me, man. Pains me to say.
What are they gonna do at quarterback too? They're an interesting case because their boy, remember, the guy from Cal, whatever the hell his name was, that just was like pussyfooting around in the championship game trying to save his body.
Yeah, because he was gonna go pro. Yeah.
Chase Garbers, like ruined my opinion of him in one. I've never gone from so high on a player to so low after one game.
So I look at it like this, dude. And this is my take with Wade. Defensively, he's just going to be so heads and tails above everybody. I think the second time they play these teams, I think that's just going to be the hammer spot for the Brahmas every single game.
It was in the regular season last year. That's kind of how it went. And remember,
that second game where he gets everything, gets on film, can break everything down. And to me, Wade looks like a guy who wants to get back in the league. He wants to, get a cup of tea. He's going to be like, hey, look what Fangio did. I could be your Fangio. I could be the guy that takes your defense to the next level. Because say what you want to say about him, guy's a proven DC in the league, a winner DC. I just think night and day, DC-wise, he's just going to be heads and tails above everybody. But at the end of the day, when you have someone that's won as many championships as Holtz does in this spring football league,
it's got to be Holtz.
Anyone that doesn't have him as number 1 is just trying to do the, what's his name, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless thing. Or Nick Wright. Let me say something utterly idiotic to get people to like me.
Trying to get too cute there. It's got to be Skip Holtz. He is the spring god as it stands when it comes to coaching. Yeah. And at almost every angle, like calling the offense is fantastic. The way he organizes the teams, the way he gets these players up for these spring league games and gets them to buy in. Like the players love him. And it's always Skip Holtz. For the San Antonio Brahmas and Wade Phillips, the defense is going to be lockstep. I think maybe one more year of A.J. Smith kind of like figuring himself out on offense. Maybe that team will be like good. Because remember the one thing, we had a couple things about A.J. is that the offense was a little at points last year.
Yeah.
Any other takes on the UFL as a whole? Coaches? We're going to get some actual finalized rosters here with training camp coming up. So I would do full roster breakdowns. I'm excited.
We talked about it last year. I think the big thing we need to really look into is defensive line, offensive line, 1A and B, equally as important. I think those are the big things. I mean, I really think that at the end of the day, that's it. Because we saw like a team like Memphis had no offensive line. You know what I mean? And like quarterbacks were running. The teams that did well last year were solid in the trenches, and that's what the thing we need to pay attention to the most.
Yeah, it's all about the trenches. It is 100% because you could have the best quarterback in the league or one of the top quarterbacks, and if your offensive line is awful, nothing's happening. So I'm excited. I'm excited for AF1 to start up here in literally 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
Arena Football 1 starts in 2.5 weeks, my friend.
All right.
When can we get DraftKings to post some lines on that, huh?
Probably quarter never.
Yeah. Hey, you get lines on the IFL where you're at. When that league actually comes out.
Put down action, I will.
I might need you to put down some action. We'll see if you get some AF1 action too, but I'm excited. Everyone, follow this man at Utah21 Sports every Tuesday night. Great show. Great show, by the way, this week. Follow me at XFL Gym. A lot of stuff in the works. There's a big video coming out next week. We love you guys. We will see you next time for another beautiful episode of Spring Fever. Shout out Royal Retros! Promo code Spring Fever for 10.